And now I would like to welcome, last but definitely not least, Kyle Jandrin, who is an advocate for the Mass Down Syndrome Congress. Sounds like a legislative body. MDSC.
Yeah, that's usually what, MDSC.
It's a lot easier to say.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully you're not freezing outside, because I did notice that you're wearing shorts today. And
well, it's warm in here.
I was waiting for the penguins to show up on my front doorstep. So before we get into more of the Down syndrome information, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, what brought you to Burlington if you didn't grow up here, all that kind of fun stuff, where you went to school?
I grew up down near the Cape in Onset, which is a village of Wareham. Okay. My parents were really from New Bedford, so it's kind of that South Coast area. My wife is from Burlington, so after we met, got married, and had kids, we kind of moved back to the Burlington area because she teaches up here, so it was a lot easier to commute for her than it would be for me for my work. So.
Okay. And the kids actually go to the same school that she teaches?
Yeah, two of them do, yeah. Yep.
Now, I have a friend that teaches at school, and his kids are homeschooled, and I'm thinking, do you not have a lot of faith in the school system where you work? So I digress. So how did you get involved in the Down Syndrome Congress, MDSC?
Well, we learned about it just through connections and finding out information back when my daughter was first born.
Okay.
And we found out they had a conference, so we went to the conference, which was, she was born in November, so the conference was in March. So we started going to the conferences yearly to find out different information.
Okay, because she actually has Down syndrome.
She was born with Down syndrome, correct.
Okay. Now, did you know, actually, let's back up a little bit. So you started going to the conference when she was about 4 months old. Wow, you could actually get out of the house with a 4-month-old. I'm impressed. And how did you get to becoming an advocate and showing up on my show?
It's just something that progressed over the years. She just turned 9, so this is kind of a process that's been just evolved over the years.
Okay.
You meet more people, get to know more people, get to know more families, get to know the people who work at the MDSC. Okay. At one point, at one of the conferences, I'm sitting in the back with one of the lectures, and I see people coming in and out taking pictures. I'm like, I can do that. And I'm saying to myself, I can do better than that. So afterwards, I went up to the executive director and I said, hey, I have a camera, I take pictures, that's my hobby. I don't do it professionally, but I've been taking pictures for our local group, and, can I help out?
Now, the pictures that you take, are they for promotional purposes, or do you have them available for the subjects of the photos?
Both. Mostly I give, any pictures I take at an MDSC event, I put them online.
Okay.
They can pull them individually, and then I make a disc and I bring it over to the office, and they use them for their brochures, whether it be for the Buddy Walk, for the conference, for the Educators Conference, for the hockey game, whatever.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Speaking of hockey game, before we forget, now let's talk about the hockey game first, because I just brought it up.
Yep.
You do have a hockey game coming up. Tell me a little more about that. Is it just some random hockey game?
It's what it is they call it, it's the Buddy Walk, not Buddy Walk, the MDSC All-Stars. Okay. Versus the Boston Bruins alumni. The Boston Bruins Alumni Association, or whatever they're called, is all made up of former players that used to play for the Boston Bruins at one point. Okay. Whether it be for a 2-year spot, or someone like Brad Park, who played for many years, or Terry O'Reilly. And the people the guys who play for the MDSC, they have to raise so much money to be able to play.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't remember the exact amount.
Do they have to be really good hockey players?
No, they don't have to be really good. They just don't have to skate. And they range in ages. I think the youngest kid that played was 12.
Oh, wow.
And there's dads and uncles that play, or friends of a family member. So it's, guys are in their 40s and 50s. And it's a very wide range of ages that play.
Now, who usually wins?
It depends on what the Bruins want.
Say,
usually it ends in a tie. Sometimes they'll say, I think one year they went, hey, we'll make them go into overtime, and so they'll do different things.
So they accommodate.
They are an incredibly nice bunch of guys.
Cool.
They take pictures. They come out in a free skate beforehand, and a lot of them come out in their uniforms, and they skate around with the people and let them sign autographs and take pictures and carry babies around. Now,
can anybody go to this event?
Anybody can go. Yep.
Okay, and when is it? Do you have?
It is the 24th of this month, November. It's at the New England Sports. I forget
Check the
exactly.
website.
Yeah, check the MDSC website, mdsc.org.
Okay.
It's in Marlboro. It's right near the Solomon Pond Mall. There's a big, huge
I
ice
know where
skating
that is.
area, rink area. There's like 7 rinks or something. So they have it there. So it's
this is
kind of
like an
centrally
annual event.
located. And this the main rink where they have the game, you can see a few thousand people.
Excellent. So in order to play, you have to raise
You have to
X
raise
number
so
of
much money, whether it be 2, 3, 4,000, whatever it
Okay.
is. And the person who raises the most money
Okay.
gets to play on the
whole game.
Bruins team.
Oh, on the Bruins team.
Yep, they get to dress with the Bruins in the uniform and get to play with
Wow.
them, sit on their bench and everything.
Cool. Have you ever played hockey before?
Years ago, I
No, but I
was
mean
not a
for
good
this
skater.
event.
Oh no, I'm not. I haven't skated in years. My feet aren't very good.
Yeah, no, you don't want me playing hockey. Yeah, I remember a joke a long time ago. What do you call a hockey player with all of his teeth?
A bench warmer.
A rookie.
A rookie. Yeah.
So, sorry, little tiny joke about that, babe. And that money that is raised is used for primarily like research and other
It's
MDSC
used for
events.
the
and-
programs. They have the first call program
Okay.
where if a baby is born with Down syndrome,
Okay.
the hospital notifies the MDSC and they send.
Oh.
They have a team.
Like
of
a welcome
people,
package.
A welcome package. This is what to expect.
Oh, okay.
They'll send someone, another family that already has a child with Down syndrome. They'll send them to the hospital
Okay.
if those people want it. They'll send them to the house afterwards to talk to them and say, hey, this is what they'll bring their child to say,
like
so they can introduce
Give them a
and-
support group.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
start support right away.
Okay. Now there's another huge event that you guys do, Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah, Columbus Day weekend for the past. It's been that weekend for a while. We've been involved with it. I think 8 years now on Columbus Day weekend.
And it's the Buddy
The
Walk.
Buddy Walk, which is huge.
Okay. How huge is huge?
This year,
Ballpark.
This year they raised around $400,000, and there
Excellent.
were somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 walkers.
How far do they have to walk?
It's 3 miles around Lake Quannapowitt
Oh,
And,
sorry, I didn't mean to make you pronounce that.
in Wakefield.
Okay, so it's local.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
there's like
for us it's local, yeah, but
Okay.
it's
Oh, it's- so
people
it's
from around-
everybody
yeah,
in
It's all, yeah, it's
Massachusetts. Okay.
everyone. They also have 2 other buddy walks, smaller ones, one down on the Cape,
okay.
because to get from the Cape up to here, this area is quite a drive. And they also have one this year, the first year in Uxbridge.
Oh,
they
okay,
had
like
one.
way out,
Out in West, for for more of the Western Mass people.
Okay.
They had about 400 people for that. So they're a little bit smaller, but at least
Okay.
it's they're spreading out and getting the word out there.
So life does exist outside of 495.
Apparently.
I grew up out there, okay? So, I had just thought of another question that I totally forgot about. So, let's move on.
For the buddy walk, for the things that go on, there's a concert, not just a walk, but there's other events that are going on. Ayla Brown, who was on American Idol, she was a top 12 finalist 10 or so years ago.
Okay.
Rachel
Cohen?
Coleman, who started Signing Times.
Yes, I taught my kids that.
Yep, she's been there. She was there this year. She was there a couple years ago. Draws a huge crowd.
Awesome.
She is. She has so much energy. It's ridiculous.
Still has all that energy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's another
Those
guy,
videos are
Mr.
amazing.
Vic, I believe his name is, who sets up
Okay.
a little rug on the ground, and he brings all his instruments out and plays instruments and sings, and he lets the kids play
Wow.
instruments.
Like
and-
an instrument petting zoo type thing?
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Now, how long is this? It's the whole weekend, or is it just
No,
like...
it's just one day. It's registration usually starts around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and then it
Okay.
runs to about 3:30 in the afternoon.
Excellent.
And they have food provided. There's all kinds of big sponsors,
Oh, wow.
big food
Sounds like one
tents and-
happening party.
Oh yeah.
Now, are
it's-
they teams that go?
Everyone can sign up as a team. Like,
Okay.
there's different, like we had Emmy's Walkers was our team. Or
Okay,
our
so you
family.
didn't necessarily have to be someone, related to somebody with Down syndrome.
You don't have to be, no. But usually they'll, one team, one team I can think of, Beverly Beckham for the Boston Globe. Her granddaughter has Down syndrome.
Okay.
And she has a big contingent of people that always show up to help them. But it's all friends, family, so she shows up with like 30, 40 people.
Wow.
With their group.
How big's Emmy's team?
I think we had about 10 people. Mostly
Okay.
just family. Some of Emmy's teachers showed up.
Okay.
A couple friends.
That's still a decent...
Yeah.
That's a good
We hang
size
out,
team.
but there's other families that we know, that we've met throughout the years, that we hang out with.
Yeah.
Like we'll hang out with like 2 or 3 other teams, just kind of like, we'll walk with them, and
Now,
our kids will play with each other. And
is there a minimum fundraising amount that you need to raise to participate?
No, you don't have to raise any money if you don't want to. You just have to pay the the $20 to register. But usually people, I think this year our family raised just over $1,000.
Excellent.
I think that the top family raised over $20,000.
Wow.
The top 5, I think the top 5 was like 20,000, 18,000, 15,000.
Okay, yeah, a friend of mine had a team, and I think she said they surpassed their goal, their team's goal, but I don't remember.
Yeah, if everyone sets up a goal, it depends on how much you want to put into it. I usually ask, I'd send out emails to all friends and family and guys, co-workers, and hey, $20 here, $10 there.
Oh yeah.
It all adds
I
up.
work for public broadcasting, WPLG, all pledge all the time. So, every donation matters,
Right,
because it all adds up.
Yep.
Okay. So if they want more information, if anybody wants more information about the hockey game or the buddy walk, because you said there's some buddy walks that are, are the smaller ones spaced throughout the year?
Yeah, the one on the Cape, which is down in Falmouth, is usually in August.
Okay.
The one in Uxbridge this year, it was the first year they had it, it was in September.
Okay.
So I'm guessing it'll be pretty similar next year.
Okay. So if they want more information on that or the hockey game, they can go to mdsc.org.
Yep.
And there'll be pictures and everything. And speaking of pictures, do you want Corey or Mike or Colleen, can you show us a couple of pictures from the hockey game from last year, just so people can kind of get an idea of what the hockey game's like?
That's Rick Middleton, who was a captain for the Bruins back in the 80s. He's actually the president of the Boston Bruins alumni now, so he's there every year. He's there every year.
Yeah. Excellent. Is he still a player?
No, he retired years ago. He played back in the 70s and 80s.
Okay. He can still skate. He's still
standing
up.
Yeah, he still plays. Yeah, he's
Well, I knew he wasn't still playing for the Bruins.
Yes, he
participates
does. He plays in the
in
games.
that
Yes,
game.
He does.
Okay.
He does participate in the game. Yes.
And let's look at another, couple more photos from that. Okay, are those players? Is that like the?
Nope, that's just people just skating around. There's a father and son. The son has Down syndrome. He's out there skating.
Okay. Well, they have matching outfits, so that's why I was wondering if that was like the MDSC uniform. Wow, that's awesome.
That's the Bruins team from last year, I believe, with the Self-advocates who sang the national anthem.
Cool. Now, what's a self-advocate?
Young adults who just go out there and say, hey, I have Down syndrome, and
I'm going
to rule your world.
Excellent.
They just promote themselves, promote each other, promote Down syndrome.
Promote MDSC? Do they work, or are they
Some of them
associated?
do, they might, but it's...
Okay. Guest lecture and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
That's the 2 teams,
That's
the
like
MDSC All-Stars.
Wow.
Those are the guys in white, the MDSC All-Stars. Those are the guys who raise the money playing with the Bruins.
Excellent. Okay, so that is definitely coming up. There they go.
Yep.
That goalie looks pretty intimidating. Oh, I like the signs in the back. Now, are those like pictures of past events?
Yeah, just people send in pictures of their child.
Oh, cool.
And they just have it at the buddy walk. They have it here. They have it at the conference. They have it displayed all over.
Wow.
Whenever they have an event.
That looks like a really fun event. And it's November 24th.
November 24th, Sunday.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks, Colleen. And now we'll actually get into some of my questions.
Sure.
Well, not that I didn't ask any questions before, but now that we've established some of the fun stuff that you do, let's get into more of the why you do it.
Okay.
So pretty much you had already mentioned that you became involved because your daughter was diagnosed with Down syndrome.
Correct.
Now, did you know before she was born, or was it actually in the delivery room?
No, we found out ahead of time.
Okay. Now, were you familiar with MDSC before?
At that time, no, we were not.
Okay. And off the top of your head, statistically, do you know what percentage of children are born with Down syndrome?
It's, I believe, 1 out of every 690 or so births.
Okay.
A child is born with Down syndrome.
Now, does there tend to be a family history with Down syndrome? Okay.
Nope. It's
so random, it's luck of the draw. Luck of the draw. Okay. I wanted to say
it has nothing to do with race. Has nothing to do with anything. It's just.
So it's not a hereditary
it's
thing.
It's not hereditary.
It's just
nope. It
luck
just
of the
happens.
draw.
Yep.
Okay.
They don't know why it happens. They've, people, been researching it, but they have no idea why it happens or how it happens, or they just know that it happens.
It happens, and they finally like isolated, like the genes or something.
Yeah, it's the what it is. The official term is trisomy 21, because it's the 21st. Everyone has what 23 chromosomes.
I don't
46
know.
chromosomes, 23 from the mother,
Okay.
23 from the father.
Okay.
And someone born with Down syndrome has trisomy 21, which means they have an extra 21st chromosome.
Okay.
So instead of having, one from each, you get to the 21st chromosome, now there's a third one thrown in.
Oh.
So that's what kind of
Never
dictates that.
I knew it was like an extra chromosome thing. I just didn't know
Yeah,
how
it's
that
21.
worked.
Yeah, trisomy 21.
Now, is there specific terminology that the general public should be aware when talking about individuals with Down syndrome?
You would probably want to say, instead of, that its child has Down syndrome, as opposed to that Down syndrome child.
Okay, so
It's
put
like
the
it's someone,
individual
it's like,
first.
The woman has red hair, not the redheaded woman.
Okay.
It's, it's just not really all that different.
Okay. Just trying to.
It's just like anything else. You want to put the individual first. You come across as the person.
Because it's not really an affliction. It's just who they are.
Right.
Okay.
Just you have red hair. I have brown hair. You have black hair.
Okay.
You have blue eyes. You have Down syndrome. You have an extra chromosome.
And you're really rocking that extra chromosome. I've seen like
I just bought my daughter a T-shirt. It says, "Relax, it's only an extra chromosome."
I like that. Chill, it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, where did that whole relax thing come from? I've seen it like relax.
Yeah, it seems to be the new fad. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it like came from a TV show or something.
I don't know. No.
So I live in a cave now that I have 2 preschoolers. It's like we watch PBS and that's about it.
Yeah.
Are there tests for expectant mothers to take? You said that your wife or your daughter was diagnosed in utero.
Mm-hmm.
Did your wife have a specific test that
What?
you guys were looking for it?
No, we weren't looking for it. What happened is just on a regular ultrasound, the ultrasound tech in the OB's office, they take measurements of the bones, they take measurements of this, they take measurements of that, and when they get certain measurements, they kind of sets off markers, as I guess you could say. They don't know for sure, but this is a marker we need to look for. Maybe we need to do more tests. Say this could be a possibility. So they send you for a level 2 ultrasound. Where they go dig even deeper.
Yeah, I had a bunch of level 2 ultrasounds because I was advanced maternal age.
That's where you can get the 3D ultrasound.
Yeah, I missed that. They told me I could get one. See, for my daughter, I was advanced maternal age, and for my son, I was geriatric. When I had my kids, so
Yeah, so they go level 2 ultrasound. The level 2 ultrasound doctor that we saw, confirmed what the suspicions were. Okay. But not 100% because it's still just an ultrasound.
Yeah.
So.
And the growth chart has a 2-week margin of error. I'm
exactly.
Like,
So so what the next step for us was back 9.5 years or so ago, was to have an amniocentesis. Okay. Where they actually go in, they pull out the fluid, and they test it.
And you did go through the amnio?
That we did, yes. We wanted to know for sure. It was one of those things like, was it, we'd rather know, boom. If we know, then we can deal with it. If not, no big deal, just move on.
Yeah, okay.
So we had the amnio done. That, I guess, there's some concern because that could do damage to
I was saying, I opted not to do that because they said potentially.
There's a potential. I think it's like 1 in 200 or something like that. I don't know the exact figures, but it's been so long. Yeah. But we ended up doing it anyways, and that confirmed because they can actually see the cells. And see the DNA and everything. So that confirmed it, saying that, yes, she would be born with Down syndrome. Okay.
And you're like, okay.
So it was like, for me, it wasn't really much of a big deal because I had some dealings with individuals with Down syndrome throughout in my past. My wife took it a little bit harder, but just for a brief, short period of time. And it's like, our OB said, he told her, it's like, Carrie, it's only Down syndrome. Yeah. So it's like, so she started doing. She's a researcher. She's a teacher. So she researched and found out all kinds of things.
That's good.
And so, and that's based on that is how we started learning more about things like the MDSC and all this other stuff. So.
Did they send you the little welcome package when she was born?
No, that was they were still in their
Infancy
starting
stages,
phases
okay.
in that part of it. In fact, we talked with some friends who got it like a year after.
Oh, okay.
And not that, they started getting packs, and there was one book that was sent out that shouldn't have been sent out because it said, your child will not do this, your child will not do that, your child will not do this,
yeah.
you will not be able to do that, and all the parents were
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's cheery.
freaking, yeah, so like they all
You're already dealing with knowing that your child is going to be, you know,
Have some sort of-
different
right, yeah, exactly.
than everyone else, and then all of a sudden they're giving you all this other negativity.
yeah.
I mean, oh,
But that's one
geez
thing
Louise.
the MDSC, over the last 9 years that
They
we've been
figured it
involved,
out.
they've figured it out, and they've done an incredible job with getting the right information out there, getting
Oh,
people
yeah.
out there. Actually,
building a support system
support
instead
system.
of, yeah.
ROB,
supportive
again,
support
I go back to ROB because that's all we had back then.
Yeah.
He delivered a baby for another family a year before who was born with Down syndrome. So he hooked us up with them
Oh, okay.
before Emmy was born. So we get to meet them. So, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what the MDSC does now.
Okay.
When a baby was born with Down syndrome in
Mm-hmm.
the hospital calls up and say, hey, this is what we got. They send the welcome packet, and they offer, there's people that are specially trained to do this.
Okay.
In other words, not just some random family that says, hey, I have a kid with Down syndrome. No, these people that go through a specific training program.
They volunteer
They're
to
volunteers,
be like,
but they go
okay.
through a program and say how to deal with it.
They say, sign me up and
Right.
I'll take the classes and I'll
Yep.
be supported.
And they
Well,
say,
that's
hey,
cool.
then they call them up and say, I can either come to the hospital,
Okay.
we can wait till you get home, I can bring my child, I don't have to bring my child. You know, it's all interaction between the two families, how they want to take care of it. Because each family deals with different
Well,
things
yeah, it's
differently.
also pretty
so-
over, you know, having a newborn in the house in
begin
any
with, yeah.
case is
Right.
completely overwhelming that, you know, no, I don't want company.
And it's not, you know, there's also there's Spanish speaking
Mm-hmm.
individuals. One of our good friends speaks Spanish, so she has helped other families out.
Excellent.
So they've done a very good
Now,
job. And the packets
have you signed up to
changed.
be one of these families to go?
No,
help,
I
or-
haven't. We
okay.
haven't. At the time, it was, you know, between work and now, you know, now with 3 kids, it's a
Yeah.
little bit harder for.
Oh,
for
I don't,
us,
you know,
but,
I'm yeah, like, I
I've
don't
thought
blame
about
you.
it, but it's no, I have. That's
Yeah.
one thing I haven't done.
You're the official photographer. You don't have time for
Yeah.
that. So, are there risk factor? Or, you know, are there? I think you kind of already mentioned this, but there's no genetic predisposition of the parentage to.
No, the only thing, age does have a higher. The older the mother is, the higher the chances are.
Right.
But I think it's 1 in 200 chance if you're over 45,
Okay.
as opposed to under 45.
Okay.
But we know more people in their 20s and 30s who have
Yeah.
children with Down syndrome than we do people who were in their 40s when when the child was born. So
Yeah.
again, it's random. But yes, as you get older, there's a greater chance.
Yeah.
It's, as you know, maybe when someone in their 20s, maybe 1 in 1,000, as opposed to at 45, and now it's 1 in 200. So it's that. But that, from what the research has shown, is pretty much the only thing.
Okay.
Other than that, it's completely random.
Okay. I'm like looking at my cheat sheet questions. I'm like, you answered this. You answered this. You know, because you said you first learned that your daughter had Downs before she was born.
Mhm.
How did you actually, you know, I didn't ask this, so this is kind of off the top of my head. How did your other children react when she was born? Or even as she's gotten older, like it took her a little bit longer to learn how to walk. Now you have a child who's older
I have
than
an older,
she is.
yeah, we have an older son. He's 2.5 years older. So
Okay,
to him, at 2.5, all he knows is he has a baby sister.
okay.
And he's actually, as they've gotten older, because he's older, he realizes that yes, she does have some limitations and she does learn slower. So he actually is very good with her. And he's, when we go to other, family events with other kids with Down syndrome, he's very, very what's the word?
Nurturing,
Yeah,
kind of?
he's very good with the kids. He's not, he doesn't overpower them or anything. He's
Okay.
very helpful. And as opposed to my 7-year-old, who's 20 months younger than Emmy, hasn't quite gotten the realization yet
Okay.
that yes, she does have limitations. He's just starting to now.
Okay.
Because
See,
he's younger.
Yeah,
So
because I have a 5-year-old, and it's like she'll see anybody who's any kind of different. Mommy, how come that person is in a wheelchair? Mommy, how come
Yep.
that person is? Of course, she says it loud enough for the entire store to hear. But it's, I'm just
Yep.
thinking, how do you introduce without sounding negative. You know,
Right.
that's had to
Well,
be
it's just-
adjusted. Now, can you ask like a support system of other families? How did you approach this? And
Yeah, people do that. Yep. There's different family groups around the state that have their own little areas. Like there's one in North Andover that we go to, the Morning Travelers, where there's a bunch of families just get together once a month for a play group, and hey, let everybody play together. So it's, you know, kids with Down syndrome, their siblings, their parents, their grandparents,
so they don't
aunts,
know
whatever.
any difference.
So yeah, that way it just gets them together and
Normal.
yeah. But you know, those individuals will ask, like online, they'll go and say, hey, how do you handle this situation?
Yeah.
So if they don't know, they'll ask.
Yeah.
I mean, how do we handle it? It's just we just
And
let it
you know,
go. It's just,
inside the Gendron household,
Yeah, it's-
there's no difference. You
No,
know, there's
yeah.
still sibling rivalry alive and well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, you know, families begin to get help from the MDSC. Are there other resources available, or is MDSC kind of like the focal point that
MDSC is
they
the main.
pull everything together?
Yeah,
and,
kind of.
Okay.
You'll find, like I said, throughout the state, local areas that mothers will get together
Okay.
and say, hey, my child has Down syndrome, he's 7, your child has Down syndrome, he's 7 or 6, let's
Yeah.
get together. And that's how the Morning Travelers started that we
Oh,
belong to. It was just 3
Okay.
mothers.
How big of a group is that now?
The 3 mothers who started, their children with Down syndrome are all now 10 or 11.
Okay.
And I believe they have around 120 so
Wow.
names on the email list.
Excellent.
We've gone there.
So it's big. It's not like,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
it's
half
not
a
everyone
dozen
else together. Like you may go one month and be 14 families there. You may go another month, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Another month, maybe 20.
Okay.
That's how we've met some of our good friends,
Excellent.
because we hooked up with other friends who have.
And
a
North
child
Andover
who's
isn't
in
that
the
far
same-
away,
Right,
so
yeah.
So it's not like traveling to the Cape
Right.
for a play
But
date.
I know there's also another group down in the South Coast area, Taunton, New Bedford, Fall River area. That's very similar. They get together, they do things once a month, whether it be, you know, get all the mothers together for a night out, get all the families together to go to Kimball Farms or a local whatever.
Ice cream.
There's a dad's group,
Oh, neat.
Dads
Okay.
Appreciating Down Syndrome, DADS.
Okay.
And they do stuff once a month, Halloween parties, Christmas parties,
Neat.
outings. We did the family Kimball Farms with them this past summer. They've done,
Yeah, I think these friends of mine went to
Yeah.
the Kimball thing,
and
I'm
then
like,
there's Samantha's Harvest, which is another group. They do a charity golf tournament every year. So there's all different kinds of.
okay.
You can find different things throughout the state. I'm not sure what's out.
And
in
you
the
can
western
pick
part
and
of the state,
choose
but
whatever
yeah,
you
whatever
want.
you want. Go as often as you want, as little as you want. Put as much time in as you want. You know, it's
Okay.
each family's
so
different.
like, you know, like any other organization
Exactly.
you belong to. Okay. Now, what are some of the, you know, focusing on individuals with Down syndrome, what are some of the cognitive differences or delays that you've seen or that generally come with individuals with
There
Down
are both physical and intellectual
syndrome?
features.
Okay.
Physical features, their eyes are a little bit further apart.
Okay.
Usually their toe, between the big toe and the next toe, it's kind of spread further
okay.
apart.
Does that affect their walking at all?
No,
Okay.
it's just something that happens. Their bones are shorter, so they usually don't grow as tall. They're usually just shorter people.
Okay.
Whereas
So there probably aren't too
whereas the
many
average
NBA
woman maybe 5'6",
Yeah.
the average Down syndrome woman maybe 5 foot.
Okay.
So it's, you know, because the thigh bones are shorter, their arm.
Okay.
So it's when they're younger, I think about 50%, right around there, will have heart issues, which now medically is usually taken care of within the first 6 months they're born.
Okay. I was wondering if they needed to be corrected or if it's just
My daughter, we had an ultrasound done that found a hole in her heart before she was born, but it corrected itself
Okay.
before she was born. We went and got another.
Oh,
We were at Children's
okay.
Hospital for like 45 minutes in this dark room with an ultrasound, and they couldn't find. At
Not
that
to
point,
stress
by that
you
point,
out at
yeah,
all.
exactly. that the hole had closed itself.
excellent. Well, that's good news.
We know a few families who have had their child has had surgery at like 1 or 2 or 3 months old to correct issues, and now they're perfectly fine. Gastrointestinal issues are another thing that comes up medically.
Okay.
That's somewhere between 30 and 40%.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Is there like a hearing issue? Because, you know, these friends of
Some.
ours.
Some do.
their
My daughter's
son-
hearing is fine.
Okay.
Most of the families that we know, their children's hearing is fine.
Okay.
Sight is usually pretty fine. We know some kids with glasses, but then again, we know kids without
Everybody, yeah.
disabilities that have glasses. So, intellectually, there's a delay because they have a 21st chromosome that kind of just throws a curveball into development.
Okay.
So they'll learn to walk maybe a little bit later. Instead of the average child walking at around 12 months, maybe they're at 18 months or so, depending on the individual.
Okay.
Sitting up, same thing. So they'll do everything a little bit later, but they'll do everything.
Okay.
So,
Now, did you have to like avoid, you know, your standard like sippy cups with kids or something? Because
no, she had no problems with that.
Okay.
She had, bottles. She had no problem eating or anything like that. She's actually the best eater in the house.
Send her over to my house.
She eats her
My
fruits
children
and
are on the
vegetables.
air and sunshine
she
diet.
Eats everything. She loves her hamburgers and her turkey and her grapes and her blueberries and strawberries. Oh yeah, she eats everything. Whereas my boys,
Now, I think you already talked about like heart condition and everything. Are there other medical conditions that individuals with Down syndrome tend to have?
As they get older, I think they are more, the right word, susceptible, I guess, to things like dementia or Alzheimer's.
Okay.
They may get it at a little bit earlier age than what someone without Down syndrome might get, whereas someone without Down syndrome may get it in their 70s and 80s. Someone with Down syndrome maybe get it in their 60s or 50s, but
now there's a test for that.
But, yeah, but that's not. That's down. It's you don't see that as often now. Mostly because they're living longer. People with Down syndrome live longer now than they did 30 years ago because
everybody lives longer.
Yeah, well, originally, 30, 40 years ago, if your child was born with Down syndrome,
they were institutionalized.
Don't say anything. Put them in institution. You don't want to
see.
Now it's like they're a regular part of society. They're just a regular individual like you and me.
Okay.
So they're going to school. They're being educated. They're going to college. They're graduating high school. They're graduating colleges. They get jobs.
Wow.
Wherever. Some of them are happy just bagging groceries. Some of them want to work in a suit and tie and work at the State House.
Cool.
And it's everywhere in between.
And because that's actually my next question: is there like a spectrum or different levels?
It depends on it's just like anything else. It depends on the individual. Just someone you go to have a classmate that goes to college, doesn't like it too much and doesn't want to get into the corporate world and wants to do something else. There are people with we've seen stories of individuals with Down syndrome. There's a guy out in Arizona who opened his own restaurant.
Cool.
He runs it with his family.
Wow.
I have a friend who lives in Massachusetts. He's in his mid-20s. He has a photography company that he does pictures. He had at the conference. He had his booth set up, was selling his own pictures. He does a wonderful job.
Cool.
Tracy's Kitchen down on the Cape. We got Tracy. I forget what her last name is. Open Tracy's Kitchen. She's a baker and bakes some of the most incredible cookies and brownies you've ever tasted in your life. Oof.
It's not going to the Cape very often.
She's at the conference selling her stuff. Every time I go by, I'm like, oh.
Go away, Tracy. Go away.
No. All right, throw me a cookie. All right, give me another.
All right.
They are.
Go ahead, twist.
Her and her mother do a great job with everything.
Excellent.
So whatever you want.
So there are no
another
limitations.
friend of mine, she's working part-time and also as an intern at the State House for one of the state reps.
Excellent.
And then there's John Anton, who also does political work, advocating. He was in D.C., lived down there for about 6 months, working with one of, I forget which state it was, but worked in the office of one of the senators. Doing advocacy work.
So there really are no limitations.
No.
Excellent.
No limitations for you, no limitations for me. Why should there be any limitations for someone with Down syndrome? Just because they have an extra chromosome. They get an extra chromosome, what do I have an extra of?
Yeah. Now you mentioned, earlier in that last question about schools, graduating, going on to college, getting careers, doing whatever. How do schools integrate children with Down syndrome? We talked about this a little before we started the show.
It's really town to town.
Okay. How does Burlington do it?
Some towns are better than others. Burlington, in my opinion, does an excellent job. We've been very happy with what they've done. Emmy has been excellent in school for the last 3 years. Her reading has improved, her math has improved, everything. Her speech, everything
and
is just,
she's
it just
integrated
continues.
in
She's in third grade at Pine Glen, and she's been integrated first, second, and third grade. This is the first year where she's 100% integrated. There's a special ed teacher in the classroom with a regular teacher. So there's a couple of kids in the class with IEPs, individual education plans. I don't even know. I don't know. I just know what IEPs, but
we just talked about it like 2 episodes ago.
But they don't necessarily someone doesn't necessarily have to have Down syndrome to have an IEP.
Right.
So, but yeah, she's got friends. She goes to birthday parties. She hangs out with she does everything else. She loves her friends. All the friends love her. All her friends in school think of her as Emmy.
Excellent.
Not the kid with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
She's Emmy. She's just another kid in class.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure if you can answer this because of your personal experience, but I'm remembering 40-something years ago when I was in elementary school, and there wasn't that integration of the special need kids.
Right.
So how do you think it's, compared to now, how has it changed over the last 5 years or so, or 10 years, or 20 years?
Oh, it's changed dramatically. I remember being in school, elementary school, in the 5th grade, and down the hall was the special ed class.
Yeah, me too.
It was
like, there's a special ed table in the cafeteria.
It wasn't just elementary school kids. They were high school kids. They were kids high school age. They were all in one room. But the one thing that I remember most about that, going back to 5th grade, is my 5th grade teacher and how he handled it. And
which was?
There was one boy. He actually wasn't a boy. I think he was in high school age at the time. Donald. He used to tease him all the time. They had the most fun together. He'd give him a cookie. He said, "You're going to need this. We're going to fight later. You're going to need the energy." And going back and forth and bicker. It's just the way he treated him. He just treated him like like a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember that. That was the first experience I had with someone with Down syndrome. But at the time, in 5th grade, you're 10, not really knowing it was Down syndrome. I just saw my teacher interacting with him, and that stuck with me.
And it's not contagious.
Right, and it stuck with me.
Excellent.
And as going out and doing work, you go into a store, you see someone with Down syndrome. I notice it now because I have a daughter with Down syndrome, so I know you kind of have the eye for it. It's like anything else.
Right.
So you see them in CVS, you see them in Shaw's, you see them at Market Basket, you see them wherever. They're working, they're doing their thing, and
they live normal lives. Wow.
Yeah. Taking the bus, walking to school, driving, riding their bike to work, doing whatever.
Can individuals with Down syndrome normally drive?
Depends on the individual.
Okay.
And how some people can't, they might not have the fine motor skills too.
Kyle speaks, take two.
I have heard of stories of individuals with Down syndrome that have gotten their driver's license.
Okay.
They worked hard to get it. They were told, their parents were told, he will never be able to drive, he will never be able to do this. You know what? He did it.
Never say never
to me. Yeah. I don't know any personally, but yes, I have heard.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if the developmental and intellectual
it depends on the
delays.
individual. It's you may have I know friends of mine that don't drive because they have like an eye issue or whatever, but everything else with them is fine. It's just everyone has limitations. And everyone has unlimited potential. So.
Okay. I don't mean to be dwelling on
it. No, it's a good question.
It's
absolutely.
Just various.
People don't know. It's if you put limitations on somebody, then what does that do to someone? If you just say, "Hey, do whatever you want," you say do whatever you want, but the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I'll help you push. If you can do it, great. If you can't, we'll find something else.
Although sometimes when they say you can't do that, it's like, oh
exactly. Yep.
Watch me.
My daughter has done that a few times.
Against Dad's better judgment.
Or her brothers.
Her brothers, yeah. Now, what is AIM? AIM.
AIM is Advocates in Motion,
Okay.
which is a group of individuals between the ages of 13 and 22, I believe it is.
Okay.
It's a program. They provide fun, inclusive, interactive events. They meet once a month.
Okay.
They'll talk about nutrition. They'll talk about fitness. They'll talk about, hey, how do you make friends?
Okay.
They'll talk about...
It's like a peer group type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
They get together, and it's so they have someone that they can relate to.
Okay.
Just like at, the Jimmy Fund has a program where the teens with cancer, they get together because it's like anything else. You have work, you got your friends that are around the same age, you get together, have the same interests, same idea.
Okay. Now, I've noticed like in the rec department catalog, they have like special events and special classes for individuals with disabilities. Does AIM work at all with them, or is it, do you know?
I think AIM is on its own.
Okay.
Also, what I've seen AIM, the people that AIM do, they'll go and volunteer at different events, whether it be, I think they did a volunteer event at the head of the Charles Regatta,
Oh,
where they
wow.
passed out drinks or whatever, or at the Boston Marathon along the line, they'll pass out drinks, or they'll find an event and go to it and volunteer.
Cool.
That's part of
The head of the Charles is an awesome event
that's
to go to.
part of
yeah,
the
that's cool. The outreach
promotion.
type?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's promotion awareness. That's
Okay.
that self-advocacy. That's by getting out there in the community and volunteering and doing things and showing
Okay.
people that, hey, I can do this just like you can. So
Okay. I just thought of a totally random question. We've been focusing on MDSC, the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress. Do other states have programs like this? And is AIM like a national program, or?
don't know about AIM in itself.
I never thought of asking.
There are two national Down syndrome groups.
Okay.
There's the MDSC, the National Down Syndrome Congress, and the NDSS, National Down Syndrome Society. One of them has a national conference that moves from city to city each year, similar to what Massachusetts does, but on a nationwide scale. It was in Boston 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
Denver, I think, last year. I don't know. I think they have it in the summertime. July is what I want to say.
Okay.
And they'll bring in people from all over the country that specialize in whatever, whether it be education, whether it be behavioral, whether it be brothers and sisters, different things. And they'll have topics related to, teaching from birth to age 5, from age 5 to age 11, high school. How do you get to college? Finances. How do you handle finances? They do all kinds of things like that.
Wow.
They have specialists and all that kind of stuff.
Neat. Now, speaking of conferences, yeah, I can't talk either. MDSC does a conference, correct?
Yes.
When is that conference?
They have it.
Generally.
It's usually mid-March, early to mid-March, right around St. Patrick's Day time. Not necessarily on, obviously on St. But it's usually like the Sunday around that time period, like the second or third Sunday
Eastern
in March.
Massachusetts, you can't have anything on St. Patrick's
Exactly.
Day, other than the parade.
Right.
Now, who attends that conference?
That is for parents, teachers, self-advocates, brothers and sisters, grandparents. They have different tracks for each one of those groups. They usually have, I think the last few years has been about 500 people, 600 people.
Oh, okay.
Now,
does that also rotate, or is that?
No, they have it at the DCU Center in
Okay.
Worcester. They have a big conference hall there with all kinds of, ballrooms they use for the workshops and whatnot.
I think we have a couple. Did we have some pictures of the conference?
Yes, I do have. Yeah, I did
Okay.
bring some. There's they have keynote speakers. Usually is usually someone always someone with Down syndrome.
Okay.
That's the people that work for the MDSC. There's Maureen and Sarah. Sarah in the white and black
Khakis.
shirt is she runs the First Call
Sarah.
program.
Okay.
And Maureen, executive director, she's in black.
Okay.
That was at last year's conference.
Okay. And it's always okay. And
That's Ted, I believe his name is. He's a self-advocate who gave the keynote speech at the conference.
oh wow. Okay.
telling about his life and what he does, where he works, where he goes to school,
Mm-hmm.
you know, things that he's done. Gets
So
in
in
and
other
speaks all
words,
by
you know,
himself.
saying no limitations.
Right. Yeah.
Excellent. What else do we have? Oh, wow. That is pretty popular.
That's just, I believe, not even half of the size of the room.
And it's full. There's
Yeah.
probably
Oh,
500
yeah.
people
All the-
there.
yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And that looks like one of the tracks.
That's one of the tracks. Yeah, the guy who's given the track is he's an expert in
She kind of reminds me of
inclusion.
Rodney Dangerfield from this angle.
He's one of the foremost known experts in inclusion around the world.
Wow.
This
How do you
particular
recruit people for that?
they find them. Yeah.
World
This
renowned.
particular, I remember this particular one specifically because at this conference I was
Now,
going
did you
in
take
and out
this
of.
picture?
I took this
Oh,
picture.
wow.
I was going in and out of the in and out of the tracks, taking
Okay.
pictures of the different things. I stepped into this room. The room was completely full, and he's walking around talking. I ended up staying in there for almost a full 45 minutes, just listening to this guy, how he talks. This is what you did.
sucked
He
you
just,
in.
it was just, he was absolutely incredible on the ideas and how, you know,
Need to
like he
invite
was
him.
saying, it's like, you know, why do we have special ed classrooms? Why do we have, you know, things like that? When they're finished with school, there's no special ed bus to take them to work. There's no special ed grocery store. Include
He's
them.
got a valid
Yeah.
point.
Exactly, yeah, and that's, you know, that's what he does. He's the specialist in
Wow.
inclusion. Goes around the country doing talks. I think he's based
He
out of
needs a
California.
bigger audience.
He's had
You
bigger
know,
audiences.
talking to people who are already have personal experience with Down syndrome. You're preaching to the choir there.
Well, I think that particular track was for educators, so they may have
okay.
just had a child come in for the first time.
Okay.
That may be the first year dealing with it. So now it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, wow. It's like,
You're right.
yeah,
I can talk.
yeah. He was Richard. Oh, I wish I could remember his last. I should have written it down, but I remember his first name, Richard. But yeah,
okay.
he was incredible.
He was phenomenal.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, speaking of, you know, some of the things that he talked about, you know, once you graduate from school, there is no special ed. Just like, you know, real life isn't equipped with April vacation
Right.
and,
Yep.
you know, there are no snow days in real life.
Yeah.
What kind of support network exists for after individuals graduate from the school system?
I believe the MDSC is working on building some kind of a program for that, like
Okay.
the AIM program, but now because the AIM is just for like 13 to 22.
Okay.
Well, what happens after you're 22? Now
Yeah.
you're done with college and whatnot. So I think they're trying to build something. That they think they're in the ground floor
Okay.
of building that and taking, talking to the individuals who are older with Down syndrome. What do you want? What can we do? I believe there's also a school down on the Cape that a lot of individuals with Down syndrome go to, where they learn more life skills.
Okay.
And a lot of friends that I've made who are in their mid-20s now, they've gone to the school. I can't think of the name of the school off the top of my head, but and they love it
Well,
down
if
there.
you think of it afterwards, just interrupt me and
Yeah, but they learn like life skills. They learn more. It just like takes just living out on your own. What you
Okay.
need to do. How do you get a job interview? How do you prepare for it? You know, once you get a job, you know what can you
and
expect?
manage your own finances.
Yeah, it's
and
work
I
on
need help
this,
with
yeah,
that.
Right. If you don't need help, how can you get help? Who do you go to seek
Right.
help so you don't get burnt?
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So they're working more.
Excellent,
It's
okay.
getting, because now people get. I don't know as much. My daughter's only 9, so I don't know as much.
Yeah. You don't need to
about
pay attention to
but-
that for another 20 years.
Right. Yeah. But I know they are working towards that. That's one of their goals.
Okay. So it sounds like the MDSC is a fairly new organization.
26 or so years, 27 years. It was basically started like anything else. It was just a couple of families that got together and say,
together.
hey, we need to do something.
Wow.
Started meetings in their living rooms, and it just over the years it just kind of.
Why is it called a congress?
That I don't know. I've wondered that myself.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure. I've meant to.
Yeah,
look
I
that
know,
up in
I
the
didn't
past,
put it
but-
on my
No, right? Yeah,
questions.
and I've wondered the same thing exactly. I don't know, but I guess it has to do with the organization part of it.
It's a democracy. I don't know. So we mentioned self-advocates, and the keynote speaker was a self-advocate.
Yes.
Now there's a self-advocacy council.
Yes.
Self-Advocate Advisory
Council. Yes.
What is that?
That is made up of
self-advocates?
Yes, they're usually
Are they like
past
elected?
the AIM stage.
Oh, okay.
John Anton, I believe, is on it. He's in his 40s. Chris May, who's the photographer I mentioned, he's on it. Melissa Riley, who's another friend of mine who has skied in the Nagano Olympics, for Special Olympics. She's on it. There's another girl, she's in her 30s, she's on it. It's usually, I think you have to be like 25 and older.
Okay.
And
so you have to have graduated from
you kind of moved on, now you're an adult, so now they get them together. What can we do to help adults with Down syndrome? What do you find that you need?
Okay.
So that's taking that step we just talked about a little bit earlier. Is like, what is the MDSC doing as far as once they get older? The
talking to the advisory
council is that's what's helping give them their ideas on how they can move forward and helping individuals.
So basically, it's experience.
Yeah.
All right.
And these kids, they're not. I keep saying kids, but they're not. But these individuals, they're all very intelligent.
They're younger than you. They're kids.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think John's older than me, but
all right. Well, everybody else.
But they're all very intelligent. They're very highly spoken. They have a lot of experience in things they do. A couple of them have worked, like I said, they worked in the State House.
Wow.
So they have a lot of ideas on how they want to, how their life should go.
Okay. So we touched upon this a little bit, but what kind of self-advocacy is being done? So, like, okay, they're speaking at keynote addresses. Is there a formal program, or is it just?
I don't know if there's necessarily a formal program. It's probably more something just being out there, like with the AIM group, going out to events and helping.
Okay.
Being
and showing there are no limitations.
Showing up there and just showing up and say, here, I can help. What do you want me to do? You want me to, pass out water? We can do that. You want me to, sit down with someone if they're feeling bad? I can do that. It's, whatever. It's just like anything else. You're advocating for yourself. So it's like, hey, I can do this. So I'm going to show you I can do this by doing it.
Okay. All right. Which kind of leads into my next question, which part of it you've answered. What types of employment opportunities are available for individuals with Down syndrome? You said the sky's the limit for that individual, but they're in a society that has the preconceived notions where there's something wrong with you, or
Well, it's just like anything else. You get your foot in the door.
Okay.
Like, if you want to, like someone who wants, works at CVS, right? Fine, I'll start working in the back room, cleaning it up.
Okay.
I can do that good of a job. The boss says, hey, he's actually doing a pretty good job. Hey, let's see what else he can do.
Okay.
We'll put him out on the floor.
That's a lot of pressure on an individual to have to prove themselves all the time, though.
Yeah, but they do it.
Okay.
Because they want to be part of society. They want to say, I'm a normal person. Okay. They like music. You like music. I like this TV show. You like that TV show. I get mad at some things. You get mad at some things. It's, it's.
Okay.
It's.
On a more personal note, just along that lines, how do you talk to Emmy and explain to her why she can't do all of the things, or can she do all the other things that her brothers do?
No, we don't.
Has it ever come up in conversation?
No, she knows she has Down syndrome.
Okay.
And we promote it.
Dragging her to the Buddy Walk for the last 9 years probably clued her in.
Right, but we promote it in a positive light. It's like, hey, you got an extra, who's the pretty girl with Down syndrome? She knows she has Down syndrome, but we don't separate it like, oh, you have Down syndrome, so you can only do this. It's just she knows she has it.
Okay.
But that's all she knows.
Okay.
She knows that she's maybe not as smart as some of the other kids, and it takes her harder to work, but she still works hard at what she does. She gets her homework done. Sometimes she doesn't want to do homework, and she'll say, "No, I don't have any homework." You look in a bag. Yes, Jimmy, you have homework.
Yeah, you do. Oh, darn, caught again. Okay, the curiosity has gotten the best of me, and we've talked about your daughter. And I think you said there were some photos of her that you brought. Colleen, can we check out some photos of lovely Emmy? If she can find them. Because we only have like 2 minutes left.
Oh, wow.
So we'll check out some pictures of Emmy, and then, I don't know, can we talk about... While we're looking for those, Can you tell me? Oh, there she. Oh, what a great costume.
She was a crayon this year.
Was it this year?
Yep. That was just a couple weeks ago.
Excellent. Did she come up with that idea?
She picked it out, yeah.
Okay. Did you have to make or did your wife have
No,
to
it
make
was
the
just,
costume?
she picked out a costume from online. She
okay.
wasn't sure what she wanted. So she saw the crayon. She's like, oh, I want to be a crayon.
I don't have a crayon.
And that was
Oh,
2 years
wow.
ago, I believe.
She's queen, not a
Yep.
princess. She is
Yeah,
the
she was
queen.
the queen.
I love it. I think you need to get her a bigger bike.
Yeah, she does have a bigger bike now.
Poor kid.
But she's still riding it. And this was at the Disability Awareness Night at Fenway Park last summer, not this past year, but the year before.
Okay.
They invited some people from the MDSC to represent the MDSC, so they called me up.
let you on the field?
Yeah, let us on the field. Another family threw out the first pitch.
Wow. Excellent. She's a lucky kid.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people get to go on onto the turf at Fenway. Is that this year?
That was last fall.
Oh, last fall.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to do the fall pictures this year.
Okay. Now the squirrels have eaten all the pumpkins.
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. Oh, wow. She's taking karate?
She takes karate. She now has a green belt
Okay.
here in town at Steve Nugent's.
Oh, okay.
Karate, so her and her brother do that. She does it's helped her a
Now,
lot.
do they get to be in the same class
Yep.
even though they're
Yep.
2 years apart?
Yep, they're in the same class.
Okay.
She's playing baseball at in Acton. They have a
I think they
special
have that
field
same
in
shirt.
Acton.
Cool.
This was in early this spring.
Oh. That's a beautiful shot. I love that look.
That was at the Lowell Spinners game we went to.
Love Lowell Spinners.
Yeah.
That is awesome. We went on Superhero Day.
At Fenway Park.
It was at this. No, she was wearing a different shirt.
Nope, this is a different one. This is at Fenway Park at the.
No, she was on the AstroTurf, or she was.
No,
on
different
the,
game. No, this
Okay,
was
different
this
game.
summer at Fenway Park. We went
Okay.
to a Red Sox game.
She's very photogenic.
Yeah. Well, I've been taking pictures for a while. She's used to it.
Yeah, my daughter still has a cheesy grin though.
Oh, she'll give the cheesy grin at times. Yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah, she does that. And I go, Emmy, come on.
All
And she's
right.
like, okay.
Okay, one more plug for the hockey game.
Hockey game, November 24th, Sunday.
November 24th, Sunday.
It's in Marlboro-
Alumni
Marlboro.
of-
Bruins alumni. Names such as Ken Hodge Jr., Bob Sweeney, Rick Middleton, Terry O'Reilly was there a few years ago, Reggie Lemlin. Still waiting for Ray Bork one of these years. He's part of the alumni, but he hasn't shown up yet. I'm still waiting. I'm hoping he
Okay.
shows up.
So if anybody wants to come see that game,
Yep, they can go.
they can go and they could check mdsc.org
Correct.
for more information.
Yes,
Well, thank you so much, Kyle.
it's my pleasure.
It was wonderful having you on the show.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun
Yeah,
chatting.
went
And I
by
love the
quick.
pictures. Those are
Thank you.
great. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
And I hope everyone else enjoyed our conversation. Hope you at home enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you around town and seeing you in a couple of weeks with a brand new episode. Thanks and good night.